This evening on Nationwide, we meet the young men committing to a life in the priesthood. We spent a day at work with a former Manchester United player who passed over his football jersey for clerical garb. And also we hear of the optimism of the priests for the church in Ireland. Tá fáilte chuigid leor, and you're welcome to Newbridge College, a co-ed secondary school in Newbridge and the home of the Dominican community in County Kildare. Now, there was great excitement last year when Philip Mulryan, a former international soccer star, was ordained, joined the Brotherhood here and is now teaching at the college.
I went in 1994, so Eric Cantona, Ryan Giggs just breaking through into the team, Paul Ince, Roy Keane just signing for the club. You know, a wonderful time. It was really, and at that time they were just starting to really dominate English football, so it was amazing for a young fella from West Belfast to all of a sudden be surrounded by his heroes in that sense, because I was a huge Man United fan, so to be sitting in the changing rooms and even cleaning the boots of people like Roy Keane and Paul Ince and so forth, it was just amazing really as a 14 to 16-year-old.
Father Mulryan played for Manchester United and Norwich City, and he's just one of a number of young professional men who gave up their high-flying careers to become Dominican priests. 2016 was the 800th Jubilee of the Order of Preachers, and it was also the year when 8 men were ordained priests, a very high number for any one order in an Ireland that has seen a dramatic fall in vocations to the priesthood.
I was agnostic. I'm an engineer, and now I'm a Dominican priest, and absolutely no regrets.
I'm 29, I was an accountant, I'm now a Dominican priest, and I'm certainly not hiding from reality.
I was working in finance, in capital markets, in the Financial Services Centre in Dublin, and now I'm a Dominican priest working here in the parish in Newbridge.
All of these men bring important life experiences from different worlds to their work as Dominican priests. What's the attraction? Well, that is the big question. Last year, when a Belfast-born former Man United player with 29 caps for Northern Ireland swapped his soccer kit for a priest's habit, well, understandably, the Dominican order hit the headlines. Mary Fanning went to spend a day with him as he went about his duties here at Newbridge College.
Father Philip Mulryan is one of the young chaplains at Newbridge College. He caused a bit of a stir when he joined the Dominican community and staff. He's very popular with his students, who see his life experiences as one of his greatest gifts as a teacher.
I grew up playing football in Belfast really as a youngster, a very young man, you know, even from the age of 7, 8. My dad played football as well in Northern Ireland for some of the teams there as well, so it was very much in the family. And then at the age of 14, I was scouted playing for my local team, and I went to Man United then. And I went for 2 years, still at school in Belfast. And then at 16, I moved over full-time, signed a professional contract, and was at Man United until the year 2000. So I'd spent 6 years there, and was very fortunate enough to play 4 or 5 games in the first team. And then kind of moved on to Norwich City after that for 6 years. Which was a wonderful experience, really time I loved, because I was playing every week. I was very much part of the team. At the same time, I played for Northern Ireland 29 times, and then sort of really came to a conclusion really in 2009 when I returned home to Belfast and then officially retired then.
Giving up the dream life was a huge step for the international soccer player who became a priest.
I lived the life, and there's no way of hiding away from that. I lived it, I spent it, and I lived it, the life as well as a footballer, as you do as a young man, and enjoyed the things that the world had to offer me and materially, you know. So, and ultimately found it kind of wanting, you know. That's all I could say. You know, for a time it was wonderful, and then it wears off, and then you start to ask some serious questions. Why is this not fulfilling me, or why is this not enough? It's never enough, and that kind of led me to maybe ask some deeper questions when I was 27, 28, 29. In the early years, those kind of questions weren't there. I was just rolling with it and enjoying the life. And then later on, I started to ask those questions, and it ultimately led me to kind of ask questions about my faith again, and led me to rediscover my faith. And so I left it behind after that.
Father Philip Mulryan's ordination received a lot of media attention. He literally gave up a life most young men would only dream about.
The football life gave me loads of wonderful things and gave me huge highs and lows, you know, euphoria and just going in front of a huge stadium and how that makes you feel. And so great ups and downs and kind of emotionally. But what I experienced when I rediscovered my faith was something more lasting, something more permanent. There was a depth of the joy that it gave me and the purpose in life that it gave me that had a sense that this is going to last for the rest of my life. This is not just for a particular moment like football, and it's not huge highs and lows that are based on acclamation of people or something. There was a deep kind of just a joy and it's hard to put into words, but a sense that there's something here that's not being engineered by me. This is a gift that I've been given.
The Dominican order of preachers are very distinctive with their white habits. But why did Philip Mulryne go for them? Why did he choose them?
The Dominicans are very visible in the Irish church, okay? So you see them at different events. So you see the brothers young in their habits. They have a strong identity of who they are, which is very appealing to people of my own generation. You know, so people who have a purpose and a very definite identity of what they're about and who they are. And there's no doubt if you see other young men choosing this way of life, you see a future in it.
Philip Mulryne's vocation came after years of scandal in the Catholic Church. So how did he weigh all that up on his journey to the priesthood?
You're not immune to it, even when you're in seminary, and we have families. I come from a family, so obviously, you know, and you know people personally maybe who have been affected in some way. But I want to be part of the solution. I want to try and, like, I know I'm weak and I know, you know, I'm in some way, I have to try and live the Christian life as best as I can so that people are attracted once again to this way of life, because ultimately I believe in my faith that this is relevant to people and it gives them great hope and so I believe in the message. So therefore it only makes sense in faith. Okay, the church is a human institution, but it's also a spiritual reality, and the human institution fails us sometimes in our personal witness. But still Christ is there in the midst of us, and so I wanted to be a priest to kind of be part of that.
In what way is he still present to the Christian community?
This is a fifth-year religion class in Newbridge College, and Father Mulryne is a popular teacher. His pupils are supportive. They like him and believe that his previous life as an international soccer star is good for him and them.
It's like cool that he did something before he's a priest as well. Kind of can talk about other things. It's nice.
A lot of priests have been studying like all their lives, and they always knew they wanted to be a priest. But Philip used to be a footballer, so that puts a different spin on it, I suppose, and helps make the classes more interesting.
Knowing that he was a footballer is like completely different to being a priest, so like it shows that like it can change and you can kind of grow into religion. You don't have to like be brought up being a Catholic.
You can get like two perspectives of life in Man United, and then obviously he's been ordained a priest there, so it's good, yeah.
Teaching, being part of a brotherhood, the day-to-day chores of life, the vocation and devotion to his ministry and the wider community, all part of Father Philip Mulryne's life. He's attracted a lot of attention and sees his past career as a footballer often useful in opening doors in his present role. He had to give up a lot, the cars, the girls, and commit to a life of service and celibacy.
Every form of life involves sacrifice, and I think it's one of the things that is one of the greatest parts of a human being, that we're able to sacrifice for a higher purpose. And people do that in marriage, people do that for their children. The priest does it in a different way. And so celibacy, there's no doubt there's a sacrifice involved, but I think that's an important sacrifice so that the people see that the priest is trying to imitate the life of Christ, even though Christ is God and divine, okay, but in his weak way, he's saying, yes, I want to imitate the way the Lord has left this life for me and the way the church hands it down, so that I can be free for people, so the priest loves in a particular way.
Philip Mulryne has made a journey through sport, through formation, through vocation, and now, as he says himself, he's home. He will, without a doubt, be always known as the soccer player who became the priest. Are you happy?
Yeah, absolutely. Now that doesn't mean, again, not to give the impression that, I don't have struggles and I'm not, happiness is something much deeper than being emotionally happy or, on the outside. But there is a certain contentment and fulfillment that my faith has given me that the football life could never give me. And that was a kind of discovery that I kind of made later in my life.
And no regrets?
No, absolutely not, no.
Hello, thanks for your patience. Thank you. How are you?
Well, Father Philip is obviously a very contented priest, but you know, he's not alone. This is St Conleth's Parish Church in Newbridge in County Kildare, and morning mass has just finished. It was celebrated by Father David Barons. He's a member of the Dominican community, but he's very much involved here in the parish.
For a few years I was working in finance in Dublin, in money markets. I was in the treasury side of that, working for AIB Capital Markets, the banks, and loved every second of it.
And what happened to you?
One evening, coming on the bus from Trinity into Rathmines, coming over Portobello Bridge, I still remember I finally gave in and said, I'll give this a go.
Are you happy?
I think I'm overall very happy. I mean, there are days that are challenging. There are days when problems are thrown at you, and like anyone else, you have your good days and bad days. But at a deeper level, when I get up in the morning, I'm happy with what I'm doing, I'm at peace with what I'm doing, and I'm always motivated because I believe in what I'm doing.
Another young man who answered the call to become a Dominican priest is Father Owen Casey. He grew up in Rathdowney in County Laois, and he's teaching religious education here in Newbridge College. We're going to go in and have a chat with him in his classroom.
We look at the 3 different ways in which we'll know
Father Owen, hello.
Hi, Mary.
How
nice
are
to
you?
meet you.
Very nice to meet you as well. Now here you are teaching religious education, but that wasn't what you were at when you decided you were going to enter the order.
No, I was studying to be an accountant. So I did a 3-year degree in UCC in accountancy, and then I worked for about a year or so before I left my accountancy job to join the order.
And was this something you've been thinking about for a while?
Yeah, I've always wanted to be a priest since I was about 7 or 8. I've always wanted to be a priest, but when I was the age of my students, I didn't think about it too much. When I was in my teenage years, I thought I'd get married and have kids, but I started to think about it seriously in around the age of 19 or so, and I joined the order at the age of 21.
You said that when you left school you thought you would get married and have a family. Are there ever moments when you feel it would have been nice to have had a...
Of course, it's a natural desire for everyone, I would say, to want to get married and have children, but to be a priest we sacrifice that and give that up for what we believe God is calling us to do. And within marriage too, there's great sacrifices that husbands and wives make for their children and for each other and so on. But in the priesthood we make a sacrifice too and give that up for what we believe God is calling us to do.
I'm just working on a video to kind of show what a day in the life of a Dominican student is. So just, for example, they're studying.
Yeah, absolutely. Another member of the Dominican community here in Newbridge College is a very talented cameraman and editor who's also now Director of Vocations, Father Luke Jansen, all the way from Holland,
Yeah,
the Netherlands.
Netherlands, yeah.
And what was your life like before you decided to join the Dominicans?
Well, actually, I wasn't really brought up in a religious kind of family at all. So I've been quite agnostic. Didn't really know anything about God until so it happened that I had to go to Ireland for 3 months to do a practical placement to finish my engineering degree. I'm a mechanical engineer, and I arrived in Ireland and did my work, and then got a scholarship to do further studies, do a master's in engineering. And one of the engineers in the office started to talk about God and about science, and kind of more or less proved to me that God existed, and that's really the whole start of my journey.
But while you were in Ireland, you actually fell in love, didn't you? And you were in a relationship.
So I was baptized in Ireland, and then I got a girlfriend, and had a girlfriend for 3.5, 4 years.
And then what? What happened?
Well, what happened was, I suppose God kind of pulled me in, and I responded to that call. I suppose it was not an easy thing to do, but I suppose for me the change from not believing in God, discovering God, and the difference it makes to have God in your life, like on a daily basis, was just so enormous that when I asked at one stage, we are a little bit of a breakup for a day or two in the relationship, as you do. I mean, sometimes things are not always going perfectly. And I said to God, well, if you want me to do something else, now I'm free, this is the time I am free. And the call came, I responded that I thought, well, God is asking me to do, to become a religious, to be able to bring the joy I found myself by knowing God to others.
We're going to take a break now. When we come back, we'll be heading to the Dominicans Formation House in Dominic Street in Dublin, where we'll be meeting some students on the road to ordination. So don't go away, we'll be back with you in a couple of minutes. You're welcome back to Nationwide. Now, as promised, we've taken ourselves to Dublin, to St Saviour's in Dominic Street. And this is where the Order of Preachers has its teaching house for student priests in formation. The Dominicans are attracting a high number of professional men who are prepared to give up their lucrative careers to join, including international soccer player Father Philip Mulrine. Life in Dominic Street is very busy. It's full on, really, with 7 years of study of formation. And Father Terence Crotty, you are the master of the students.
Yes.
Now, you came in after living in the real world as well, didn't you?
Well, I was a dentist for 1 year in England, so enjoyed it quite a bit. But I suppose the reality I met there was wondering what I was going to do with my life.
Yeah.
And
this
realized,
is it.
Yeah.
So tell us about the students who are here. How many are there at the moment?
We have, in the Irish province at the moment, we have 15 men in formation, of whom 12 live here and 3 in Cork. And so, yeah, they do their theology studies here, philosophy studies in the university in Maynooth. I'm actually on 2 Samuel 13. We begin at 7 o'clock in the morning, so we have plenty of prayer together, and we eat together, and the mornings are generally given over to class. Occasionally they have class in the afternoon. And quite busy then also pastorally in terms of meeting people and working with people in different things. So schools and different meetings, charities.
Brother Anthony Kavanagh, what stage are you at?
I'm in 3rd year in the order.
And what were you before you entered?
Before I entered, I originally qualified as a civil engineer from Trinity College, and then I was a secondary school teacher in CBS and NACE.
How do you feel about the fact that you, because you're a Catholic priest, cannot marry or have a family?
It's definitely, like as I say, like joining the order, 2 things that I found very, very difficult to come to terms with was giving up my job, because I absolutely love teaching and love working with young lads. It's an excellent school, the CBS and NACE. And the second thing, obviously, would be the idea of not having children or married. But I suppose, like, even on a human level, it makes great sense, because I know if I was married and I was in the parish, say, that I wouldn't be able to give my full self to the parishioners as well as to my wife and children and so on as well.
So you're here for the long haul?
Please God, one day at a time.
Father Brian Doyle, you're teaching theology to the students here in Dominic Street, and that kind of fits in very nicely with what you used to do before you became a Dominican.
Yeah, I used to teach civil engineering in UCG for about 3 years, and I really loved it. And it's one of the reasons that I joined the Dominicans, is I just had such great interaction with the students in Galway that I thought it'd be a shame to let teaching go.
Now, there must be something in the air from where you're from, around Wexford, in your family, because how many of you are?
The 3 brothers, we were all civil engineers. We all went to Galway and did our undergraduate degree, and then my older brother became a diocesan priest. After working for about 5 or 6 years, I became a Dominican, and my twin brother was recently ordained as a Franciscan last March.
Study and community life are very important parts of formation, but so is this, being out and about and meeting with the people in Dublin. Father Colin Mannion, now you're ordained how many years?
3 years ordained now.
3 years. Yeah. But this would have been part of your study years?
Very much, yeah. I did my studies in St. Saviour's and would have come down here doing work with Legion of Mary and various charitable groups and talking to people, meeting them, talking about our faith, offering them a prayer, maybe have miraculous medals to give people, and just getting out to know the people in the area.
What kind of reaction would you get from the people here, say, in Moore Street?
Very good reaction. I think people are surprised when they see us out in the habits, but then people come up and they want to talk, and no, people are friendly, I think, and we're always here to help in whatever way we can, and to share our faith and to let people know that they're always welcome in the church and that we're always here for them.
Our Father, who art in heaven,
Father John Harris, you're prior of your community in Newbridge College, and things are going really well for the Dominicans, aren't they?
Thank God.
8 ordinations in 2016. Why are people coming towards the Dominicans, the men?
I think a number of years ago we made a very positive approach, that this is a good idea. And it was a time maybe in the life of the Irish Church of great uncertainty. And I think we actually made the decision, no, we're going to be positive about this. But there is something we have to offer. The Irish Church is good, the people are good, and we can help them. And the gospel needs to be preached. So I think that it was that positivity. There's a Dominican I know, and he used to say, when the church is humble, there'll be vocations.
These men are bringing skills and life experience to the order, and I suppose they're role models, therefore, for younger people.
Actually, I'm quite excited because I don't know where it's going and what they are going to bring. You know, as their backgrounds, their experiences, their sense of life, their sense of modernity, even. I think it's going to be quite exciting in the future. Because, where are we going in the Irish Church? I don't know, but I'm very happy to let these fellas lead. I think they're a great bunch of men, all of them. Very different, as you know. They're all very different. But I think there is a positivity and a belief that they have something to offer and something that people need to hear.
802 years in the making, the Dominican order has come full circle in Ireland with vocations from all walks of life as they continue the journey of bringing their mission to the wider community. We wish them continued success in a life that's not always easy, but from the few that we've met this evening, it seems to be a life that's rewarding and fulfilling. Sin deir leis an glór, I bhfad inis agus go dtéis sibh slán.